You and Your Money is brought to you by the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation, the National Insurance Board, John Bull, Sky Bahamas Limited, and Andros Business Outlook.
It is the ministry that captures the largest segment of the government's annual budget, and it is the minister that has an indefatigable spirit and verve in order to execute a mandate which places upon him an enormous burden and expectation by the Bahamian people. Talking about the Minister of Education, the Honourable Desmond Bannister, Member of Parliament for Carmichael, who is my guest this evening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd.
How's it going?
It's going wonderful. We
Close to the school year's end.
Yes, and with that, there are any number of other things that come up. Education is something that never ends. It's a continuous circle. And so as the school year ends and as academia comes to an end, we get into preparing schools for the next year.
What have been some of your challenges this past year? This is your second kind of full term as minister. What are you dealing with now that really seems to have a certain intractability?
I think the greatest challenge that we've faced in education, quite frankly, has been parental attitudes.
Parental
attitudes and parenting in general. Or should I say the lack of parenting. I've seen too many young people who've come to school unprepared for school. I've seen too many young people who are not getting the help, the assistance at home that they need to get. I see too many young people who are not getting the encouragement that they need at home. And as a result, we've seen a number of things happen in our school system that ought not to happen to young people. In other words, Mr. Lloyd, we've seen too many young people without a support system. Young people who do not know how to resolve conflict properly. Young people who are antisocial. And as a result of that, we've seen some other problems in our school system that we've had to address. And these are problems, sir, that in past times would have been addressed in the home, would have been addressed by the family, and would have seen these young people prepared optimally for the school.
So you're expending resources that you would rather not spend or expend, and find that you have to expend because that and those issues are not being addressed elsewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We are now seeking to create a parenting program because we're finding that so many young parents are having children and they are not preparing those children for the school environment. And so we are creating a parenting program in education to assist them. At the same time, we're seeking to find ways to address some of the issues that young people have to deal with, that they're not getting support systems at home to help them with.
You have an opportunity tonight to speak to parents, Mr. Minister. What do you say to them?
I would say to every parent to take the obligation very seriously. Having a child is one of the most wonderful things that could ever happen to anybody. And to be able to nurture that child in a way and to support that child in a way that child becomes someone that you can be proud of in our country, someone who makes a difference in your country, someone who becomes an honest, contributing citizen to our country is what we want. And so I urge every single parent to pay more attention to their children. We take it for granted that children have homework at night, but you'd be surprised how many of them don't get any support or any assistance. And I understand that many parents may be intimidated and may not be at the level where they can assist their students with this homework. But we do have homework centers, we do have after-school programs, we do have the opportunity to assist young people, and what we need is for parents to understand that it is critical for them to direct these young people to these programs.
The conversations I've had with you in the past, particularly when you first came to the Ministry of Education, you indicated to me that so many of our students are coming to school improperly fed and unhygienic. Is that still a problem?
It is a problem, but it's not as great a problem as has been in the past. The social services has been very, very good in assisting our young people to prepare themselves. We have an outstanding, a wonderful lunch program so that many young people can get the nutrition that they need at home. Still, some do come from homes where they don't get what they ought to get,
Yes.
or where young people are poorly nourished, but it is not the overriding problem that we have seen in the past. And it is something that we are seeking to do something about.
Before we go into our next segment, Mr. Minister, talk to us about the relationship with the union. We haven't had much of a report about any contentions between you and the union. I'm sure that speaks to the excellent relationship you have with the union, but tell us the nature, the state of the union with the ministry.
We seek to conduct ourselves professionally with the union. We seek to have the best possible relationship with them at a professional level. The union leaders and the president are concerned about any number of issues that impact upon teachers and educators in general. And we have sought to work as closely as possible with them this year. There have been some differences of opinion, and the president is able to call me when she has a concern. I seek to address those matters. I noticed that at one stage I was accused of micromanaging that issue. But I think it's very important for the minister to always have his hands on the pulse of what is happening in his ministry. And when anything impacts on teachers, when anything impacts on their salaries, when it impacts on their lives, it also impacts on their well-being. When I became the Minister of Education, we met almost 700, a list of almost 700 teachers who were up for reassessments, whose salaries had to be reviewed. We had a number of issues that had to be done with respect to them. In the first year, we addressed 288 of them. We spent $1.6 million on that. We're hoping this year to address an equal number. We're hoping to cut that down incrementally each year. Because if a teacher is not getting the money that they ought to get, if they're going to the bank at the end of the month and not getting what they ought to get, then they're not going to feel as good as they ought to when they're delivering their lessons in class. And so developing a professional relationship with the union, continuing that relationship at a professional level, while understanding that we may have some different goals, but we all want to deliver professional service in the classroom is important. And I want to commend the president of the union for being very professional in what she's done, for ensuring that where their problems have arisen, that she has contacted me, and we've sought to resolve them together.
Mr. Minister, a couple of things that I want to address in our next segment this evening. Thank you very much, Minister of Education. The Honorable Desmond Bannister is with us. A lot to talk about, folks. Last week, the Prime Minister talked about his concern for the poor performance of students in schools. We're going to address that right on the way back. You and your money.
Waited my whole life for this moment. Always knew that I would see the day. Even though me they didn't believe in. It was cool cause I believed in me. And I knew the harder than the times.
Sky Bahamas announces a special flight to Andros Business Outlook North Andros on Wednesday, May 11th. Leave Nassau at 7 a.m., return at 6:30 p.m. For reservations, call 377-8993.
Waited my whole life for this.
John Bull is truly the shopping paradise of the islands. John Bull's relentless pursuit of perfection ensures that each customer has an unparalleled shopping experience, offering a mesmerizing blend of illustrious timepieces, exquisite jewelry, leather and accessories, sensuous fragrances, along with cosmetics and skincare. John Bull is dedicated to providing customers with the most luxurious products from around the world. Come in today and let one of our trained sales professionals assist you in making the right selection to fill your need. John Bull, a Bahamian shopping tradition since 1929.
Your national prescription drug plan is now reaching more persons with chronic diseases. The plan now extends benefits to members of the following groups who qualify: all indigent persons, staff of Her Majesty's prisons and staff of the industrial schools, members of the Royal Bahamas Police and Defence Forces, public service officers, women who are pregnant or postpartum, and persons receiving 100% NIB disablement benefit. You can apply to receive drug plan medications and associated medical supplies for free if you belong to one of these groups and suffer from one or more of the 11 chronic conditions covered by the plan. For more information, call the National Prescription Drug Plan office in Nassau at 356-2032 or stop by your local NIB office or visit our website at www.nibdrugplan.com.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good evening, and appreciate you being a part of our program tonight. Jeffrey Lloyd with the Minister of Education, the Honorable Desmond Bannister. Before we get to the Prime Minister's comments, school violence is a very topical issue, and I noticed reports that there has been a reduction in school violence. Is that so, and what do you attribute that to?
We've sought to reduce school violence by any number of strategies. First of all, as I've indicated to you, dispute resolution strategies. Letting young people understand that there are other ways to resolve disputes than getting into fights. By having administrators being careful and on the lookout, by having our security personnel trained as best that they can be trained, and by having competent security officers there. I will tell you that at the current stage, we are introducing CCTV in some of our schools. We are going to constantly be on the lookout for those persons who are going to cause trouble, while at the same time, Mr. Lloyd, seeking to educate our young people about how to resolve conflict, getting them to understand that this is a world where you're going to always have conflict. When you get in business, you're an attorney. You're going to have two attorneys who disagree on something, on issues. They're going to get in a courtroom and they're going to argue the case, and they're going to leave it to a judge to resolve it. And whether one wins or loses the case, they'll both sleep that night. We have to get young people to understand that life is like that, and that taking matters into their own hands is not going to help them to be able to solve the problems that they want to solve.
Mr. Minister, last week at the official opening of the Doris Johnson Senior High School, Prime Minister made some comments that was a little bit startling, although I think it's the general tenor of feeling in the Bahamian community, and that is the poor performance of students leaving school. He's concerned that too many are simply not ready. And it isn't only the educators that feel this way, but he indicated that employers are also expressing this concern. Your concern as well?
Yes, absolutely. The Prime Minister indicated that any number of employers are concerned that young people coming in are not ready for entry-level jobs.
What does not ready mean?
Not prepared to be able to handle the requirements of the job, clerical jobs. In some cases,
they are not academically equipped, attitudinally equipped, vocationally equipped. You know, in today's world, you need to be at least somewhat computer literate. Are they not computer literate? They can't read up to the level they need to. They can't compute at the level they need to.
Well, first of all, there are any number of issues. Okay. But the Prime Minister, let me make it very clear. The Prime Minister did not say that that affects the majority of our young people.
Certainly.
But he did say that that impacts upon any number of them. We have to look at the issues that affect our young people. First of all, we have a school system that we continue to seek to make more relevant. We have a school system that has been developing over the years. We have created a new program called the Inspire program to improve technical education among our young people, so that young people who are technically minded can go into areas that they can train and develop themselves in high school to be prepared to meet the demands of the job market. There was a time when you and I were in school when all we did was the GCEs. Well, that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
There was no preparation for the job market. What our preparation was in academics, basic literacy, English, math, understanding the dynamics of the academic world. We have a more complex society nowadays, where you don't simply come out of a school and come out with your GCEs.